All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a thought experiment today that would literally change everything we know about being human. I'm talking about the teleportation revolution. No, I'm serious. Think about it for a second. What if, right now, you could just think of Paris and poof, you're there? No airports, no traffic, no waiting, just instant. It seems like a simple little question, right? But oh boy, the answer, it unravels everything. So, to really wrap our heads around something this huge, we're going to look at it like a ripple in a pond. We'll start small, with you, how it changes your personal life. Then, that ripple expands out to the economy, then to our whole society. And finally, we'll look at the big, scary waves nobody would see coming. All right, let's start with that first ripple. You, your life. What happens to your day-to-day when distance just stops being a thing? The answer is pretty simple. It changes completely, utterly. I mean, just think about the daily commute. For so many of us, it is just this soul-crushing slog, right? Traffic, delays, hours just gone. With teleportation, poof, it vanishes. Just that one change would literally give you back weeks, maybe even months of your life every single year. Imagine that. And that's just the start. This is where the whole idea of home gets turned on its head. You could live in some beautiful, quiet cabin in the mountains, and then just pop into your office in Tokyo for a meeting. Want to have lunch with your parents on a different continent? No problem. Suddenly, your job has absolutely zero say in where you live. The world's not just your oyster anymore. It's literally your backyard. Okay, so on a personal level, this is a total dream come true, right? But let's wait out to that next ripple, because this is where things start to get messy. Really messy. See, when you no longer have to physically move people or stuff around, huge chunks of our global economy don't just get smaller, they just disappear. And I'm not talking about some slow, gradual change here. This is like flipping a switch. The second teleportation goes mainstream, trillions and trillions of dollars in industries and infrastructure become completely, totally worthless. The economic shockwave would be instant, and it would be catastrophic. It's honestly hard to even grasp the scale of this collapse. Your car? Useless. Every single airline in the world? Grounded. Permanently. Those giant container ships that keep our world running, they're now just giant floating museums. Trains, buses, subways. Gone. Overnight. And the dominoes just keep on falling. No cars, planes, or ships means no need for oil. The entire fossil fuel industry, gutted. We wouldn't need to build roads or bridges or train tracks anymore. And think about it, why would you ever stay in a hotel when you can just teleport back to your own bed every night? Let's just try to put a number on this. Take just one of those industries, cars. The global auto industry is worth something like $2 trillion. With teleportation, that value becomes zero. Poof. Now, take that $2 trillion crater and multiply it across all the other industries we just talked about. The economic fallout isn't just big, it's almost impossible to imagine. So let's step out to that third ripple, because once the economic dust settles, or maybe even while it's still chaos, our actual societies start to fundamentally change. All those lines we draw on maps, borders, cities, they start to get really, really blurry. Think about it. So much of how we organize ourselves is based on geography. Immigration, for instance. The whole concept is about controlling who crosses a physical line. What happens when you can cross that line with just a thought? Cities. They're not economic centers anymore. They're just cultural hubs. Even the idea of what country you're from gets weird and fluid when you can have breakfast, work, and dinner on 3 different continents in the same day. Yeah, there's actually a name for this whole idea. It's called the death of distance. It's a world where you are physically just doesn't matter anymore. Not for your job, not for your family, not for anything. It's like the ultimate form of globalization. We'd become one truly connected species. But, and this is a big but, that total connection has a really dark side. And that brings us to our final ripple. The biggest one, the most dangerous one, the unintended consequences. This is the shockwave that creates threats our world today has absolutely no way of dealing with. I mean, really think this through. How do you stop a criminal who can be on another continent in the blink of an eye? How do you ever feel safe in your own home when literally anyone from anywhere could just appear in your living room?
How does a government even work when its people aren't tied to its land? And maybe the most terrifying question of all, what does terrorism become when any target on the planet can be hit instantly with no warning at all?
It's a really chilling paradox, isn't it? We get the absolute freedom to go anywhere, but in exchange, we might lose the very idea of having a somewhere. A place that's yours, that's private, that's safe. That's the trade-off right there. The ultimate freedom comes with the ultimate risk. The power to be anywhere you want, whenever you want, but it comes packaged with a threat that could unravel our entire civilization. It's a perfect and perfectly terrifying balance. So, that leaves us with one last big question. You've got this incredible personal freedom on one hand, and the very real possibility of total societal collapse on the other. If it was up to you, would you flip the switch? Is the reward really worth that kind of risk? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.